On your call, Madam President.
We're ready. I was just looking at you.
Trenton City Council meeting, April 15th, 2025 is now called to order. Please stand and salute the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to Public Laws 1975, Chapter 231. This agenda is complete to the extent known and was sent to the Trenton Times and the Trentonian newspapers, posted on the first floor bulletin board in City Hall, and filed in the city clerk's office, and posted on the City of Trenton website. Formal action will be taken. Roll call. Councilwoman Edwards.
Present.
Or excuse me, Vice President Edwards, present. Councilwoman Feliciano. Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Present.
Councilman Harrison.
Present.
Councilwoman Williams.
Present, is presente.
Council President Gonzalez.
Presente.
Myself, Brandon Garcia, Municipal Clerk, present. Mr. Edwards Kaloji, Legislative Counsel. And Mr. West Bridges, City Attorney. On your call, Madam President.
We may proceed. With the
Certainly.
invocation?
Madam President, if you'd like, I'd read the invocation at this time.
Yes, please.
Almighty God, who holds the fate of man and nation, we most humbly beseech thee to bless this our city, these deliberations, and these thy servants, that they may act with wisdom and understanding for the good of our community and thy greater glory. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
All right, and Madam President, I understand we have a presentation this evening.
Yes, I believe Kingsbury, we're going to change the date for Kingsbury. They were unable to attend today. And so
Yes,
we can move on with ranked choice voting. Allow 10 minutes.
certainly.
Oh, that's what we said? I did, probably, sorry. Garcia, you can make that 15 in case they need it.
15 it is.
Good evening.
Sorry, there we go. It helps if you press the button. Good evening, members of the Trenton Town Council, township officials, employees, and residents of Trenton. You came to the right meeting. My name's Larry White. I'm an organizer for Voter Choice New Jersey. And if you give your attention to the slide deck, please. We are a volunteer-led nonprofit organization that's dedicated to bringing ranked choice voting to the Garden State. And oops, we just lost the picture. And there we go. And adopting it for all elections in the state of New Jersey. Okay. Very good. So first of all, let's talk about our current electoral system that we have today. It's plagued with toxic polarization, lack of choices on the ballot, wasted votes, the spoiler effect, and strategic voting are employed in order to navigate the current system. We have minority rule, no majority winners in our plurality system here in New Jersey, and low voter turnout. So what's the solution? Ranked choice voting. So ranked choice voting empowers voters to rank candidates in order of appearance, all, a few, or just one, and it ensures that the winning candidate receives a majority support, 50% plus one or more of the vote total. And ranked choice voting is also known as instant runoff voting, and you'll understand why when we go through a mock election in just a moment. Benefits of ranked choice voting. You have more candidates being able to run and a level playing field, so more options for the voters. It reduces strategic voting and wasted votes because you get to rank your candidates in order of preference. I like to say that my first choice would be the candidate I love, the second choice, the candidate I like, the third candidate that choice I could stand, then maybe you don't rank anything else after that. And if you like the plurality system that we have today, you can just rank your first choice for all the candidates and press vote. So you have more options in the voting booth. It also discourages negative campaigning. Why? Because ranked choice voting encourages similarity over difference. If I'm running for office and I walk up to a door and I see they have my opponent's lawn sign on the front lawn, I turn and go to the next house. In the current paradigm, under ranked choice voting, I'd walk up and knock on their door and say, oh, I see that my opponent is your first choice. Well, let me tell you how we're aligned, and maybe you'll make me your second choice on the ballot. Okay? Also reduces election costs. No need for costly, low turnout runoff elections because it's baked into the system. And we have better outcomes with RCV amongst the electorate as well. These are statistics from California that uses ranked choice voting for their primaries. And you can see that there's a 26% bump in the percentage of women elected and a 19% bump in people of color that are elected to office after RCV was instituted in California. And these are statistics from the last New York City mayoral primary that Eric Adams won. You can see the increase in voter turnout from 2013 to 21 of 29%, and the increase in active ballots and decrease in wasted votes. I'll explain more about that when we go through the mock election. Also, across age demographics, voters find RCV easy to use. As you can see, actually, the 18 to 34 group is struggling the most of all the age groups. Look, folks, we rank things every day in our lives. We create priorities for ourselves every day. And this is just another way to do that. Usage of RCV in the US and worldwide. Maine and Alaska use it for all their elections. Southern states use it for military and overseas voters. All those purple dots are municipalities where they're using RCV in elections. And there are also where the light purple is, there's also local jurisdictions that are using it. Ireland and Australia have been using it for over a century. Okay, so it's nothing new, it's just new to us. Now, let me please give your attention to the screen. We're going to go through a mock election here with RCV. So we have 4 candidates, 2 from the purple party, 2 from the orange party in round 1. These are the results. Candidate A is obviously the winner in the first round with 55% of the vote. They get the majority in the first round. But let's go to another scenario where nobody gets the majority in the first round. So how do we get to a winner? The lowest vote getter, in this case, candidate D, is eliminated from the race. But their votes are not eliminated from the race because we repopulate their second or third choices with the remaining candidates. In this particular case, because candidate D was of the same party as candidate A, the majority, 4%, went to candidate A and 1% went to candidate B. But we still haven't got a majority winner yet, so we do it again. And this time we eliminate candidate C and then repopulate their second and third choice votes into the remaining candidates. And in this case, the vast majority of them went to candidate B from the same party, and candidate B ends up winning with a majority of 55%. Our strategy. We have bills in the legislature right now that will allow the voluntary use of ranked choice voting for local and school board elections. Okay. If the governor signs this bill, the following November, you will place a referendum on the ballot and you will ask the citizens if they want to use this voting system. If they vote yes in the majority, then the following election cycle, you institute it. All the voting machines in New Jersey are capable of handling an RCV election. And we've had sit downs with the county clerks around the state, and they see no major impediments to implementing the system in current voting paradigm, should you choose to use it. And how we're achieving this is we're doing outreach to legislators, to community organizations and stakeholders, and we're doing education and outreach events, which I'm going to invite you to in just a moment. to educate the public about it. And we're trying to get municipalities to pass resolutions of support or trigger ordinances to demonstrate to the legislature that there are municipalities that are interested in using ranked choice voting now. Our recent wins on that front are, as you can see, we have 7 municipalities who have passed a resolution of support or a trigger ordinance, and most of them were last year. And we would love for the state capital to join that list. So on May 7th, we are having a education event here in Trenton, and we're going to rank ice cream flavors. So bring your appetite and come to the Trinity Cathedral Synod House on May 7th at 7 p.m. Please join us. The Trenton Council of Civic Organizations is our host, and we'll be going through an actual live ranking exercise with the ice cream so you can see the RCV process in real life in real time. That's my presentation. Questions? Comments from the council?
Anyone
How
have
much
any
time have we
questions?
got left?
Anyone? No? No? Go ahead.
Hey, Wesley Bridges, Law Director. You made a statement that there's a bill before, or there's some legislation going to
Yes,
be voted
sir.
on.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it correct that the citizens of the city of Trenton can vote to eliminate the runoff currently by way of referendum, regardless of what's happening right now with this bill?
I couldn't speak to that, but it's possible. That's true. But RCV eliminates the need for runoffs because it's baked into the process, and it gives you a lot of other advantages that simply eliminating runoffs.
Right. And I'm not saying this
In
is a challenge. I'm saying it more for informational
legislation.
purposes. We had an experience here in the city where we had an election that was challenged, and we had to do some pretty in-depth research with respect to, number one, whether the city actually voted by way of referendum to have runoff or to have runoffs or to not runoff. And our research revealed that currently, as we sit here today, the citizens of the city can vote to eliminate a runoff by simply putting the question on the ballot to vote on. So what, if anything, changes based on this proposed legislation that you're referring to?
Well, you would eliminate the need to institute that statute because what the bills do is allow us to have a different way of voting than we have now. All elections in the state of New Jersey are plurality winner elections. It's the only way that we can do it. The language in the bill allows us to vote in a different way than plurality voting, and RCV would be the way to vote. Okay?
Would I be correct, again, more in the informational gathering than anything, would I be correct that even after that legislation passes, that it would still have to be a decision that the voters would decide on whether or not to accept this form or another form of non-runoff?
That is
type of election?
correct. That is correct. And the bill calls for that. This is a grassroots bottom-up campaign. And we want the citizens to say, yes, this is a superior voting method. We would like to use it in local and school board elections where we have candidates that we know, maybe even personally, and are familiar with. And yeah, so that's our strategy. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people to utilize it in their local elections.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're quite welcome.
Thank you. And just before you sit down, I told a couple of constituents that I will share some of the emails that were sent to me. There were some that were in support. We had one that was not in support, but I definitely wanted to acknowledge this long one. Well, not a long one, but she said, Deborah Amen. She lives in East Ward, and she was in support of the ranked choice voting. She says, I hope you would listen to the presentation about the ranked choice voting with an open mind and learn more about an election process that would empower voters. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions, as she feels that this will eliminate the need for costly runoff elections, since the first election will determine a winner regardless of how many candidates run. So I just wanted to acknowledge that because I told her that I would.
Thank you, Councilwoman
Council
Gonzalez.
President?
Appreciate
Yes,
that.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes, ma'am, I have a few questions. So this is the second time we've had this presentation, I think since last summer, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm wondering, given all the problems we have in the city, other issues that we're facing, now that you've come back a second time, and I think we voted down a resolution regarding support for this. I'm not sure I understand what the precedent or what you're hearing from Trentonians yourself about why this is so important and why this is something we should do. Because, just electorally, two members of this body won by one vote, either in 2022, 2024, and my colleague, Mr. Harrison, in 2018, won by, I believe, 4 votes. So,
Were those three-way or two-way
so
races?
I know one of the statements that was made last time, given that we had 2 candidates, including myself, that ran unopposed, one of the statements said that that would take away the ability for candidates to have unopposed elections.
No, that's absolutely not
Well, that was
true.
what was said at the last presentation, sorry.
Well, I was here and I don't recall anyone saying that.
Okay.
What I will say is that if there's only 2 candidates running,
Mhm.
then it's going to be clear who's the majority winner between those 2. This RCV helps when there's more than 2 candidates running, and it also helps for your at-large council members and Board of Ed members where you typically have several candidates running for a small number of seats, in which case the first 3 candidates that get past 33 1/3% would be the winners in those races if you had 3 open at-large seats or 3 open Board of Ed seats. That's how that would work in a multi-candidate race for not a single seat, but for multiple seats, like your at-large council members and your Board of Ed members.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm not sure taking away the chance for voters to vet candidates going into a runoff is actually a good thing. And then further, my question had to do with, what are you hearing? Like Trentonians are reaching out to you and your organization and saying, we have to have this here. We really need this in Trenton. Because Princeton, Montclair, the other places, they're very different from Trenton. So I'm just curious.
Well,
And just like to
Councilman
know, like,
Williams,
why
I
you're-
would suggest that anybody who's reaching out to us
Mhm.
from Trenton about ranked choice voting is probably interested and maybe even down for the cause. And that's why they're
Okay.
reaching out to us. We have been doing outreach to community organizations in Trenton. I presented to the ETC a few months ago, and we're building towards this May 7th event, where we expect to have a lot of community organizations that we've been talking to come to Synod House at Trinity Cathedral and get more education and find out more about RCV and its benefits.
Understood.
Was there something I forgot about your questions?
No, but I did have one last final question.
Go ahead.
Since next year is our next municipal elections for mayor and at-large council, is your goal, your organization's goal to have this in place for next year's municipal election?
Well, ma'am, now it's up to the legislature. We hope, that they'll pass the bill this year and that the governor will sign it. And then you will be able to put it on the ballot next November
Okay.
as a referendum and ask the citizens if they would like to use ranked choice voting. And we'll come back and help the citizens make that happen if that's what they want.
Okay.
You know, we're not going to stop working once the bill is passed, because we're going to be asking municipalities to pass a resolution or a ballot referendum in the majority to actually implement it. You know, since passing the bill, if nobody's going to use it, right?
Okay. Well, thank you for your presentation, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
And I have flyers for all the council members about the May 7th Rank the Ice Cream event, and also a fact sheet about the bills that are in the legislature.
Thank you. We have one more question from Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes, ma'am.
So, hi, I'm Larry. I wanted to just thank you again for coming out. I requested that you come out the first time, and I did ask that you would come out again this time. I think that, I want to thank you for a thorough presentation. And I just wanted to say that to everyone who's here, everyone who's listening, ranked choice voting does not take away the voters' right to have a discussion or with candidates. It is those discussions, whether who you want to vote for, is a discussion that should be had prior to casting your initial vote. So vetting a candidate, having any discussion with a candidate, whether you want to do it in person or you're doing online, whatever it is, all that vetting is done prior to you voting. You don't go into a voting booth and you vote. You don't vet after you have had after you've cast your vote. And the bottom line at the end of all of this is after we have educated the city of Trenton voters on ranked choice voting and how it does help them. It is just my thoughts that it helps with minimizing what is going on as far as our time, our resources, and our efforts. It allows the voters to know, okay, if I don't get this candidate, then I get the vote on this candidate. So it does just what it says. It ranks them. If I can't have the first, I'll have the second, and it's automatic without them
Yes,
having to
ma'am.
come out over and over again, and without them having to go and getting the candidates themselves doing flyers, without the candidates going out and canvassing all over again. All of that, they should have had those conversations with our constituents prior to that. So I just want to put that out there, and it does not minimize our ability to have discussions. But the voters in the end, like you said, in November, if this were to pass with the governor, the citizens have the final vote to say, yes, we want to have ranked choice voting on the ballot or and system, or
Yes,
we do
ma'am.
not.
This
So it's not that
yeah.
we're making the decision for them.
This
The citizens would
resolution
do it.
of
Just
support,
opens it up.
this resolution of support is just to tell Trenton, we are interested in exploring this possibility and we would appreciate it if you passed the bill.
Excellent.
Okay, and I think that's super important to remember. And I lost the other point that
So, well, thank
I
you so
thought of
much.
when you.
That's
when
okay.
you
But thank you,
were raising
Larry.
it.
Appreciate
But
you.
these are for the council.
Mhm.
And if I could ask if you would send your presentation, I'm sure the rest of council would appreciate being able to view it more thoroughly.
Thank you,
You
Mr.
can-
Larry.
Ma'am,
Thank you, sir.
thank you very much for your time and attention this
Mhm.
evening, and we hope to see you on May 7th at the Synod House at Trinity Cathedral. Come and eat some ice cream and find out more about ranked choice voting.
Council
Thank you.
President,
Oh, Councilwoman Feliciano?
thank you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Just real quick, thank you for coming tonight. Oh, thank you for coming tonight. Sorry. Just so just for clarity, from what Director Bridges said, and what he asked, in the bill that you're putting forward to be approved, it's stipulated in the bill that if it is passed, then the municipality has to put forth the referendum. We have to put forth the referendum. Okay, so that's do a what?
Come up to the mic.
Yeah,
To the mic.
if you don't mind coming back up, please.
I mean, if you decide to do a trigger ordinance, then it might be possible to bypass the ballot question, but I wouldn't recommend that.
No, I wouldn't even go in that direction.
Yeah.
I just was asking if, I just wanted to make sure that I heard you clearly with what you said and I understood. Secondly,
Well, ma'am, the sheet that I gave you, the fact sheet on the bills,
uh-huh,
the bill numbers are on there and you can go to the state legislative website and you can actually read the bill.
okay,
Okay, so you would know exactly what the language is in the
Right.
bill.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank
So,
You're
and
welcome.
then the next question I had was, if, again, sorry, I wasn't done. So, we could, in fact, if council decided, even before all of this, as Director Bridges said, if we just wanted to wipe out the runoffs altogether, we could just put that on referendum anyway, and then let the people decide if that's what they want to do. While the ranked choice voting is interesting in concept or theory, my concern is, and this is not to take anything away from our residents here in the city, right? As far as intellect or anything like that. So let me just say that loud. The whole process in and of itself of us then having to move to educate an entire city it's a little, it's worrisome to me, because how do we make sure that everybody knows or comes out? Like, everybody doesn't even come out to the council meetings. Everybody doesn't come out when council people have meetings in the wards. Everybody doesn't show up the way that we would like them to show up to properly educate on what this process is. And for me, if anything we move forward is going to be fruitful, people would really have to know, right? And then the cost that would be directed in even educating the entire city to make sure that everybody knew this, when we could just simply put forth the referendum ourselves to say, let's just do away with the runoff, if that's what we decide we want to do, and let's just get engaged and see how the people feel about it. I think, I guess we just have to wait then and see what the legislature does before, because if we have to put it forth, if it passes, then we could just move at that time on that. But I just wanted everybody
Well-
just to consider, if not, if we wanted to do the referendum for that, then we could also do that as well.
I appreciate your comment and your questions, because it reminded me of what I forgot to mention earlier. And that is that you're already going to be doing that this year, because we moved from the county line to office block.
Mhm.
So there's an educational effort that has to happen around that. And Voter Choice New Jersey will help you with the educational outreach effort should you decide to put this referendum on the ballot after the governor signs it. So we're good at this stuff, and we can help you. Okay. So voters are going to have to become more educated in general now that we've moved away from the county line. And that's a good thing. So RCV is just another piece of that education puzzle. And after having to educate the public about how to operate with the new office block ballot design, you'll be primed to educate them about RCV next year, assuming the governor signs the bill. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Mr. Garcia?
Certainly, Madam President. At this time, moving on with the agenda, we have some individuals here for advice and consent for mayoral appointments. And I'll leave it to you if you'd like those individuals to come or be introduced by the mayor, I imagine.
I see the
and/or
mayor's
collectively.
present. You could come up, but we were going to ask if they can all come up together, please.
Great. All the nominees, you can all come up. Thank you, Council President and members of the council. We have a board comprised of 5 members and 2 alternates. Unfortunately, 2 of the members could not make it today, Miss Janina Calais and Joseph Antonello. They both had conflicts.
Janina.
But I have Dr. Lenore Robinson,
Thank you for having me.
Miss the Honorable Marge Caldwell Wilson, Desiree Walker, I'm sorry,
Okay.
Caitlin Sealand,
Hello.
and Destiny Walker.
Hey, there are twins. Yeah.
And I would just mention that each one of these young ladies were interviewed by the health department. They met with the shelter management team, and they even toured the facility. So they all, in their own way, are very excited about this challenge and look forward to working with the city.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Does any council members want to ask any questions?
Just a couple. Just one, I just want to make sure, because there were a few concerns expressed by residents. Everyone being appointed is a Trenton resident?
Yes, and
That's why I thought so.
They represented that to me, and we didn't have a
Okay.
full-fledged FBI background check, so I apologize for that. But we took them at their word, and it's disappointing that people who just want to throw stones just
Mhm.
write that stuff.
Okay. And then my only other question, and I asked this as just someone who is the youngest of 7 children. So Desiree and Destiny, as twins, will be able to operate independently of each other? Okay. But it's, the reason I asked that is just to be a little humorous, but also I do think it's very good to have two young people particularly pursuing animal sciences, because that's something going forward, it's going to be incredibly important to our country. So thank you. That's it, ma'am. Thank you.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg.
Good evening. Welcome, all of you. Thank you all for stepping up. This is something that's absolutely needed for our city. Councilwoman Williams and I just had a meeting with Director Minikapelli the other day. And one of the questions that arose was what exactly is expected of this board? So I would like to ask any one of you that might want to answer, what is your understanding as to what is expected of you as a member of this board?
Hi, I'm Lenore Robinson, and, oh, sorry. I applied for the position because I am very concerned about the animal situation here in Trenton. I have a doctorate in cultural and urban anthropology. I also have a pet care service. So I have become,
Thank you.
is that better?
Yes.
Sorry. I have become very aware of certain issues that almost lap into being public health issues about how animals are raised, bred, treated, and managed. I also have a great deal of experience in building organizational ties and being able to analyze data and figure out the best way to define a goal and then meet and exceed the goal. So when I saw the opportunity, of course, it was the day after the announcement was closed. So I thought I'd try anyway, and it worked out for me. And I'm very pleased that it did. You know, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
No, I appreciate it. There's a lot of work to be done with regards to the
Yes.
animal shelter and the animal crisis that we have in the city
Yes.
right now.
Mhm.
So I'm really happy that you all have stepped up. We need voices. We need people who are going to be part of the solution, not contribute to the problem. The presentation that was given to us in the meeting that we had with Director Minikapelli the other day, he's actually been successful in the last year with regards to our animals and the number of animals that have been put down and animals
Mhm.
have gotten, adopted and things of that nature. And then we have an ordinance that is pending that we need enforced. So we need the help. We need all the help that we can. We need your voices. And we need you guys to be on the ground with us so that we can make these things happen, so we can operate as other municipalities do, and we can really get a hold on and control of the animal situation that we have. Former Councilwoman Marge Caldwell-Wilson, you had a question or? No.
Well, I actually had this discussion with the director, and I don't think that we can get up and running until we have the rules set up for us to follow. We have to have the guidelines, what the do's and don'ts are, and where our parameters are. So once we get that together, we can come back to you and let you know what we're planning. Because I just don't feel comfortable saying what we're going to do when I don't have all of that in front of me. But I want to thank you all for considering me and putting me on this board, because I'm really excited about it. And I think we can form a good working relationship with Human Services and with our officers at the shelter.
Marge, you have the history, so you understand, and thank you for answering the question and understanding the assignment. Because yes, we need to know what you guys are going to do, what's required of you, and how we're going to work together. So thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Council President,
Councilwoman Feliciano.
thank you. Just really quickly. So to piggyback off of what Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg said, she asked very specific questions, right? And I don't think I actually heard the answer to the question. She said, what did you think your expectations were in what you would be doing when you assumed this role and position? Honorable Marge Caldwell-Wilson, you cleared it up when you said if once you get the marching orders, then you'll know. So my question is, when you had the interview, just to clear this up, did anybody tell you any expectations of what you were supposed to do in the position? No one told you the expectations. So when you had the interview, what happened?
The interview was, excuse me, ma'am. the interview was to find out about us and what our background was with animals and, to see if we would be fit to be able to sit on the board.
Okay,
And our suggestions of what we would like to see happening at the shelter.
okay, thank you.
And Marge, how long were you there with Dr. Minicapelli?
About an hour and a half, 2 hours.
So it wasn't a 15-minute interview. He took the time and spoke with each one of them.
Madam President.
Councilwoman Felice Frisbee, and then Council Vice President.
So I just wanted to say, and some of my colleagues have hit on a couple of these. In my, and I'm just going to say it. For me, I was going to say, as board members, you're not there to make the rules. You're there to help enforce the rules once those rules have been put in place. And I know that Director Minicapelli has been working on that. And we've been talking about just that, what rules and procedures have been put into order. So this is a good stepping stone so we understand that there are rules that are set into place, even as he has to make them up to make sure that it's best fit and best practices for our city, because we're not a cookie cutter, but what works for what city works with our city. So I'm going with the guide that you're there to help assist. Whatever rules that he puts into place, that's what you would do to help and to support that and make sure that things are done in decency and in order. My other comment was going to be, and still is, I wanted to commend Director Minicapelli on actually the steps that he has been taking. I believe that for under your leadership, a lot has changed. We have gotten a lot of things in order that have been out of order for a while. And so I wanted to just say that. And I'm excited that we have not just all 5, but we have 2 alternates as well. This is something that we need. It has been a thorn for our city for quite a long time. So kudos to you. Kudos to you making sure that, to our mayor, making sure that he got together and you ask questions. It's not a quick one and done, that you ask questions that needed to be asked. And I appreciate just in advance what you're going to do, because I know with Marge on there, there's no way anything's going to happen that will be inappropriate. So thank you in advance, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Council Vice President.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and potential board members of the Animal Welfare Advisory Board. It's great to see you here today, and I want to say thank you for throwing your name in the hat to be a board member. As you all are well aware, we've had many issues with the animal shelter throughout the last several years, so your service is definitely going to be highly appreciated. Mayor, my question is for you or possibly Director Minicapelli. Do you guys have bylaws established yet for the board? I'll turn it.
Can you put the light? Mayor, can you turn the mic on?
Sorry.
Thank you.
All right. The animal control is hereby further directed to focus on enforcement, proper staff training, reducing the number of intakes through community education programs, low-cost spay and neuter programs, reinstating a volunteer program, expanding adoption services, and working with community partners by creating public-private partnerships and integrate them into the animal shelter programs by establishing a Trenton Animal Care Team. But it is outlined. They certainly will discuss it, and it's up to them to give advice to the health department.
Okay, awesome. I would like to suggest very kindly that you guys establish some type of handbook that lays out all of the roles and responsibilities of the board members, so everyone has a clear understanding of exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And for any future member of the board who's interested in applying, they would know what they're getting into. So that's it.
Suggestion well taken.
Thank you.
That's it. So, okay, go ahead, Councilman Harrison.
No, I was just going to say, thank you all for coming forward. The city appreciates you're looking out for the animals. Marge, you've been doing this a long time, so I know with Marge's help, we're going to keep moving forward. So I appreciate you and thank you, each one of you, for coming forward. Thank you.
Thank you all for being present.
On your call, on your call, Madam President.
Mr. Garcia, can we move to vote on those?
Certainly,
Move that up. Can we motion for that?
certainly. Did you want to, and I'll ask the solicitor, are we able to take a motion to
Move that up.
approve those collectively? Have to name all the names? Not a problem. Okay,
Except for the two who are not
I'm
present.
sorry.
Joseph, there's two that weren't here.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Um,
Okay,
we're able to vote on the two that aren't present, but I don't know whether that's what the council,
okay.
the CP wants.
Joseph and Janina.
Okay. So, Madam President, if you're able to, apparently we do, have to name the names that
Okay.
you wish to approve. If you want to take a motion to approve those names.
Maybe take a motion to approve Ms. Caitlin Sealand, Destiny Walker, Marge Caldwell Wilson, Desire Walker, Lenore Robinson.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes?
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you.
And moving on with the agenda this evening, Madam President, if you want to, we have public comment for agenda items only.
Yes.
If I could have the public comment clipboard, please, for agenda items only. Thank you. Could I have the other clipboard? Yes. I'll trade her. I'll trade her. And we'll put this one back there as well. No worries. And Madam President, we have 3 individuals listed for public comment for docket items only. Public comment will be 5 minutes for each individual. You may address only items on the docket. The council is not obligated to respond. Our first individual listed is Michael Smith. Michael Smith. Moving on to Eric Gaskin. Eric Gaskin.
Can you press the button right there? Yeah, yeah.
There we go. Okay. Good evening.
We-
Thank you for having me this evening. So I come in the representation of,
Mr. Gaskin, if you don't mind stating your name and your address, please, for us.
oh, okay. Eric Gaskin, 1340 Brunswick Avenue.
Thank you.
Okay. So I come in representation of, I'm owner and operator of Family's Barbershop located on 1340 Brunswick Avenue. And I come this evening to discuss, so we have parking signs that were just put up there recently, and it's in the residential area. And the parking only allows from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday for parking, which we have residents that live there in the neighborhood, and also the barbershops there, and also a restaurant. So
Excuse me, Sir, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what is the docket item that you were referring to?
it's parking.
I'm sorry?
Parking, no parking
Yeah.
between 8 and 4. I don't have the docket number.
Oh, is there a resolution specific to this or?
Yeah, that might be public comment, Mr. Eric.
I think I think what you're looking for is public comment, but not for docket items only. We will have that at another, later in the meeting.
Oh,
So you could come back up when it's time for the public comment.
Yes.
Okay,
no problem. Thank you.
thank you. Oh, yeah, Mr. Eric, if you don't mind signing your name on the other sheet. Thank you.
Caroline Clark.
Thank you.
Understood. And Madam President, those are all the individuals that we have listed for public comment for docket items only. And we can move on with the agenda on your call.
Proceed, please.
Certainly. At this time, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve communications, petitions, and reports.
If we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you.
Roll call. Vice President Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of February 18th, 2025.
Yes, may we have a motion to approve the minutes for February 18th?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Vice President Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. And moving on with the docket at this time. We are at ordinances for second reading and public hearing. Ordinance 25-006, bond ordinance providing for Phase 5 of the lead service line replacement program in Trenton, in the Trenton Waterworks Service Area by the City of Trenton in the County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, appropriating $22 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $22 million in bonds or notes to finance the cost thereof. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Sorry, excuse me, Vice President. Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-17, an ordinance amending Chapter 77 of the Code of the City of Trenton entitled Fees.
May we have a motion to, oh, sorry.
Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. And ordinance 25-036, an ordinance adopting a redevelopment plan for the entirety of the city of Trenton, a designated rehabilitation area. And I see, Madam President, that Mr. Liston is already here.
Yes, Director Liston.
Council President, if I may, with the body's permission, a lot of what Mr. Liston is going to talk about is going to be touched upon in executive session. So I don't know if we want to wait until we have that under the guise of contract negotiation, real estate contract negotiation. So I just throw it out there for a consideration to have that in executive session first, prior to having any public comments, questions in front of the public.
Yes, but I believe he was going to, were you going to say something about this specific ordinance, Dr.?
Yeah, real quickly, Arch Liston, the Director of HED. This is a special type of ordinance in the fact that you have to pass on a first reading, then it has to be sent to the planning board for review, and then come back to council for passage. Because there was such a short period of time between the meeting, getting it to planning board, the planning board professionals really didn't have the time to examine this and get in depth in further discussion between themselves and administration. So I'm just requesting that this ordinance be carried until the next council meeting.
So tabled it to May 6th, I think, right?
May 6th.
May
Yes.
6th meeting.
If there's nothing else, Madam President, or if there's no questions or discussion, if you want to ask for a motion
Can we have a
table.
motion to table this 25-036 until May 6th?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettner, Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Matter is tabled until May 6th.
Thank you.
And Madam President, moving on with the agenda, we have resolutions. Are there any resolutions that the council wishes to extract for questions or for a potential consent agenda?
Yes. Anyone have any questions?
Madam President?
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to discuss 25-146 and 25-133 and 25-137.
133 and 137.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Council President,
Yes, ma'am.
25-145. And I also have a question, possibly depending on what Councilwoman Frisbee asked, for 25-137.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Council Vice President? Oh, well, I have to see you later on. That's it? All right. Oh, Councilwoman Williams.
Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure I have the number for you, but it's the resolution having to do with Stacy Park.
Got it.
Just looking for the number. Okay, 25-154, ma'am.
15. All right, I think that's it, right? Yes, okay, Mr. Garcia, I think our first one will be Councilwoman Feliciano, 25-145.
Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Council. Jim Beach, Chief of Staff.
Hey, hi, Chief of Staff Beach. Just a quick question. I think this is cool that we have the person here doing the work and everything. But do we have any report or anything of the work that they've done from 2024? Like, do you have anything, like any projects the person worked on or anything like that that you could shoot over to council after the meeting, just so we could see what have they been doing?
I could probably provide you with a summary of what he's been doing. A lot of what he's been doing is in the planning stages, and that's actually by design. Because when we've been in contact with Harvard, this assignment is a 2-year project for them. And so when he first came here, they stressed that we should not be rushing him into finding solutions, but really spending the first, 6 to 7 months just determining what the issues were and then developing the solutions around that. But after this meeting, I can certainly send all of council a summary of what he's been working on and what we have to date, and then what the steps are going forward.
Okay.
And Mr. Beach, if you don't mind explaining to council just that his salary is not out of the city budget. That is
It's a
paid.
grant.
That's
Okay,
correct.
you're right. I just want to make sure everyone knew that.
Yeah, thank you. I still want to know what they was working
Right.
on. Thank you. If you could send the summary, I'd appreciate
Will
it.
do.
Consent is fine, Council President. Thank you.
Consent? Oh, you have, Councilwoman Frisbee.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. So I, it's actually not a question to you, and it's probably just in the writing. I'm rereading the first line, and it maybe it's just grammar issue where it says Trenton was invited to apply to host a 2024 Bloomberg City Harvard Fellow who are graduates. It's that A in there. It's like it's singular, and then we become plural again.
I
Kind of
don't have the
struggling with,
resolution in front of me,
that's all.
Councilwoman, so.
It's just I think it's just gonna be a little change.
Effectively, this has been a program that Harvard and Bloomberg Foundation have been running for, I think, at least the last 3 years. We were invited in 2023 to apply to receive a fellow out of this program, and we did so, and then we're awarded or invited to interview 3 candidates. And it's kind of like in medical school where they do the residency matching. So they picked their cities, we picked ours, and then ranked them, and that's how we ended up with Namen.
So I don't have an issue at all with that. It's, to me, it's just the wording, and I'll go over it with the clerk. It's just, it's using the word a as in, we're using a fellow, and then we're talking about graduates, plural, as in more than one individual. So that's where I am struggling. It seems like it should be, is a fellow, referring to the one person, is not who are graduates, who is a graduate.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman, which paragraph?
So
are you
the
reading
very
from?
first,
First
whereas.
Whereas? Okay.
Yes, sir. If you read that first one where it says Trenton was invited to apply to host a 2024 Bloomberg Harvard City Hall Fellow, who are graduates, right there.
Right, but I
that's
guess
their
the
wording.
population of the fellows that we
Uh-huh.
had to select from were graduates, plural, but we were only getting one fellow, singular.
They're just messing with me. Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Beach. Appreciate you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you. I believe our next one is Resolution 25-146. Councilwoman Frisbee? Yes, that's going back. That was consent. Mr. Garcia.
Noted.
So thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Council President, council members. Maria Richardson, Business Administrator.
So I am excited that we're getting rid of surplus and properties that we are not going to need. Love that. My only question is, what happens to the proceeds? And maybe I overlooked it, but I did not see when.
Well, that
they're
would usually go into our general funds. So the money gone back to basically our general budget.
So does that mean that we can use it for, it's non, what am I?
For pay the
Yeah,
a
little bit of
the debts
everything,
of the
everything.
city, services and everything else. It will go to our revenue.
So it's repurposed for
Yes.
things. Okay, that was my only question on that.
Great.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Can I go on consent?
Consent, please.
Thank you. Next one is Councilwoman Williams, 25-154.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Evening, Mr. Beach.
Jim Beach, Chief of Staff.
So my question has to do with this overall in this issue. There was a article in the Jersey Vindicator several weeks ago. And in the article, a spokeswoman for DCA was quoted saying that essentially DCA made a verbal request of city council as a body to pass this resolution. And I was curious as to, how that came about, or if you were aware of who they contacted or spoke with the city council, because I know they didn't speak with myself, and I don't believe they spoke with any of my colleagues. So I'm not sure what verbal, because I would think DCA would put something in writing. Am I
They
incorrect?
did not. This had been discussed during meetings that the business administrator and I had with DCA about whether we needed to do a resolution to clarify the payment since services had been rendered and actually payments had already been remitted. So there was back and forth as to whether a resolution should be submitted. DCA verbally requested that we submit a resolution. I can't speak for the person from DCA in terms of the verbiage she used. She may have been assuming that, through the administration, she was asking the council to pass this resolution, but that's supposition on my part.
Okay, so it could have been misquoted incorrectly even
I
too.
don't know.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because some questions have been asked about that. And sometimes, when interviews happen, things do not get transcribed correctly or whatever. So I just wanted to make sure. All right,
Agreed.
thank you very much. Consent, please, ma'am.
Thank you. And then we have one more, Councilwoman Frisbee. Oh, actually, two more, sorry. Councilwoman Frisbee on 25-133. Before Director Wilson. Oh.
Hi, good evening, Council. It's Captain James Slack from the Trenton Police Department. I'm here representing Director Wilson.
Thank you, Captain Slacks. I had a couple of questions for this one. One, I'm excited that we have funds coming in to combat gang-related crimes, and this grant is actually very substantial, and I know it's already been allocated for. I wanted to know, with everything that has been allocated, is laptops, cameras, vehicles, is there space, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer that, for any funds to be allocated for the two street teams that we have? We know that with the funding that is going to be liquidated or put on just halted by funds that we originally would have, our street teams are going to be in need of support. And with something like this, it would be great. And if not this, are we able to look for a grant to help support our street team?
Council President, do you mind if I answer that question? In this particular grant is not necessarily to be used for street team. We are not able to allocate monies ahead of time for that sort of activities, right? But the city actually needs to procure the services. Right now, those services have been procured, and I am not sure if we were ready to award the contract, but those services were already being procured, and some of the money to pay for street teams comes from a anti-violence grant that we received from DCA, actually. But the purpose of this specific grant, it's not for street teams. But the administration as a whole, it's really looking into identifying other potential fund sources for police and of course police as well. But this specific grant is not for street teams.
Thank you. I just want to make clear, so I appreciate that. The street teams, if you've seen them, if anyone has seen them in action, they are really making a difference and a strong impact in the community. And I just want to make sure, so one, I want to thank DCA for making sure that we have funds, but I want to make sure that we can sustain them with all the changes that are coming down from Washington. So thank you.
Really quickly, BA Richardson and Mr. Slack, I don't know if you have the answer, but BA Richardson, just while you're up here, if you don't mind just giving us a timeline as far as the budget. I know a lot of questions are being asked about the budget, and I just wanted you to share some of our conversations, please, about when the budget would be introduced.
Absolutely. We have been working with our DCA counterparts to work on the budget since the beginning of the year. All department directors submitted their draft budget at the end of last year, and we sat down with them, went over their asks. So at this point, we have already submitted our request for transitional aid to DCA. The deadline was March 7th. We submitted our ask. As you are aware, in order for us to introduce a balanced budget, and we are mandated to introduce a balanced budget, we need assistance from the state. So our ask was already presented to the state. Once we get a word from the state as of what is the transitional aid amount that they will grant the city and what is the capital city aid. We should be able to introduce those numbers to our budget draft, and that's when we are able to introduce a balanced budget. The numbers that we have, although those are realistic numbers, it's not balanced until DCA says, this is the amount of money that we are going to give you. So following the state of New Jersey's regulations, we are not able to introduce a budget that is not balanced. It will be as it is right now, we will be presenting a budget with a deficit of $55 million, and that is not realistic. So we really need to get information from DCA. So, what is a solid number that we could use? And then we will introduce the budget.
Thank you so much.
Thank
BA.
you.
And Captain Slack, if you don't mind, I don't know if you have the answer to this, but I want to just ask Director Wilson, does he have a plan for the summertime for our youth? Like what's our summer plan? Do we have anything in place?
We don't have anything in place right now, but we will have something in place within the next few weeks.
Thank you.
We're going to be doing the summer initiative again, like we did last year. But yes, and we will be announcing something.
Okay, thank you so much.
Council President?
Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you. I just want to ask a question because actually my colleague, Councilwoman Frisbee, jogged my mind on this one because this had been an issue before. Are there any grants that could be applied for by the police department to help cover overtime or make more available the community relations officers? Because I know we have a lot of community meetings. I know there's been a few meetings where I've requested a community relations officer different from CPAC, and we weren't able to do that because of overtime costs, which I understand. But it would be really helpful going forward to have the officers, as they're available, because we don't want to have burnout, make them available to more community meetings and be out there, because the citizens really do like to meet with them, chat with them. And as I observed, share one-on-one crime situations, things that are difficult on their blocks that maybe they don't feel comfortable sharing at a public forum, even as a CPAC meeting. So it's a really good way to build a one-on-one with a relations officer.
Yes, I totally agree. A lot comes out in the community meetings.
Okay, so please, if you could get us an update on, maybe in the next 30, 60 days on additional grants we could apply for it, I would be appreciated, sir.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. That was consent agenda, Mr. Garcia. And then really quickly, I know we had one more, but Councilwoman Feliciano had a question for 25-154.
Yes. And
I know we just did that, but
I didn't have the hard copy in my packet. I'm sorry, Council President. May I use yours? Thank you, Councilwoman, Council Vice President. Okay, so the question that I have is on the last page of this that I just saw. It says, see note below. It says for LGS use only. It says, see note below. No, I can neither approve nor deny this request because it has already been undertaken by the city. Who wrote that note?
That was written by the monitor for the city
The city monitor. Okay,
from DCA, just to be clear.
okay. All right, thank you.
really quickly, Mr. Beach, while you're up here, if we could have either Director Harris or I know we have Mr. Randy in here to answer some questions, but just to kind of let everyone know why this came about. I know there was discussions between myself and some of the administrators, and we understand that some of the contracts weren't brought before us, so we want to make sure that these payments are rendered for the service, paid for the services that were rendered. So if there's anyone that does have any questions, he is here to answer these questions for us. And Randy is the consultant company, correct?
Yes, he works for BLS.
If he's able to come up, if there's any questions, does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Council President.
Good evening to the council, council president. My name is Randy Baum. I'm a licensed landscape architect in the state of New Jersey. I've worked for the city since 1995 as an employee and then for BRS since 2013.
Thank you, Mr. Randy. Do you have a question?
You got it? Okay,
Go ahead.
thank you.
Okay.
So just for clarity, when it comes to the work that was done at Stacy Park, when it comes to the clearing of the trees and everything that took place, there were questions about the permits and everything that were supposed to be obtained and things of that nature. We were told that historically permits were not gotten or anything. Can you speak to that? Can you tell us about the process for that with Stacy Park from your perspective?
Absolutely. The park frontage along the river has been maintained mostly as lawn historically. I mean, going back to the days 100 years ago when the park was first developed. When I worked for the city of Trenton, was employed by the city of Trenton, we would do periodic cleanings along the riverfront. That was back in the 90s. Regulations have probably tightened up somewhat since that. So I think the assumption was made by the city that since it had been done in the past without permits, that it was likely doable now without the permits as well.
So as the consultant for us in this area, would this have been something that they should have come to discuss with you, that you would have guided them or said, like, let's just get to it. What was supposed to happen, right? Like, you're there, you do the work and everything. Were they supposed to come to you if you knew that we were clearing it up? Were you supposed to tell them, hey, y'all, we need permits because now we have DEP coming at us saying, you didn't do this. What role were you supposed to play in this?
Well, we weren't brought on board until the letter was received from the DEP. So we weren't aware of the fact that the DEP was coming after the city of Trenton until they presented us with the letter. So we could begin to provide a repair and restoration plan, which is well underway. As a matter of fact, a preliminary was sent down to the DEP a short while ago.
Okay. So you're looking to repair and replenish.
Absolutely. Under the guidance they provide with some of their guideline documents for when there's disturbance within a riparian zone.
But you wouldn't be the person that would have advised them to get the permit in the first place. Is that what your company is that a part of what you would do?
Would have done had they approached us, yes. But we weren't approached until the letter was until the letter arrived here at the city.
All right. Thank you, Council President.
So, no problem. Really quick, a quick question, just kind of on the same along the same lines. So at what stage, so for every project, should you be consulted beforehand? Typically?
When we're asked to manage a particular project, we sort of take it from the permit stage forward. Often write the grant for the project, do the grant management for the project, and take it from the permit stage forward through design documents and construction oversight, typically.
Thank you.
Council President?
Yes, Councilwoman
Thank
Williams.
you. Mr. Baum, just one quick, just for clarity's sake. So your understanding was it was always the intention of the city to replenish grassland with the appropriate grasses that would not be invasive, that were native to the riverbank, and then also replace trees?
Absolutely correct. I mean, what was down there was brought on by benign neglect, so to speak, for many, many years. I'm very low tech and I have photos here of the park, but I can't put it up on the camera, but I have photos of the park back when it was cleared to the day. And that was historically the way it was maintained during the last decade or two. And in particular, I don't need to point it out, but during the Mac years, the park staff was dramatically reduced and the amount of maintenance that was conducted along the riverfront was also dramatically reduced. So just through attrition, the invasive material, and it's mostly non-native stuff that kills the native material, was just sort of overtook the bank and progressively made its way inland.
And how long would you guesstimate it would take for the new native species to replenish, what's there, and, as we'll see when we drive by or stop by, a healthy environment?
We have a plan in place now with the DEP, submitted to the DEP for their approval, to do some pollinator seed meadows, to do some no-mow grass, to restore the amount of lawn that's maintained down by the park, because the aggressive, I should say, the invasives that are down there are incredibly aggressive. And unless the vast majority of it is returned to a mown state, it will sort of revert back to what it was. We don't have the license or the skill set to control something of that nature. It will be probably contracted out to do some of that work where we will return it to meadow setting, but if we are able to if the DEP agrees that we're able to return the vast majority of the park to mown lawn, it will probably stay the way it is and the way it should be.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. May we go to,
Madam-
Council Vice President?
Thank you. Hello, good to see you.
Hey.
I have a question on how everything was procured and paid out. So we understand that this project or a portion of this project cost over $195,000. And in doing my research, after getting the information from the administration, when we asked about whether this was supposed to come to council, what is your take on splitting the aggregated amount into separate invoices?
Well, quite frankly, as a consultant to the city of Trenton, I can't answer that question.
If I may, Council President, that's my job to answer that question. So I think that's a conversation that I would be responding to.
Okay.
Mhm.
I would say, let me rephrase my question. So if the city has, I guess, a qualified purchasing agent, would that be included in the process for you to work with whoever that person is on the cost of the project? Is that included in your scope of work?
Not necessarily the cost of the project, but again, when we're assigned to a particular project, then we would work hand in hand with the city employee who's in charge of that project as well.
And so do you have any involvement on how the projects are paid, the invoices and things like that?
When we manage the particular projects, absolutely positively. As a matter of fact, more often than not, the consultant will submit their invoice to us. We'll review it, approve it, make sure it's appropriate, and pass it on to the city for payment.
And that's the entire aggregated amount, not split invoices?
It's the entire project amount based
Yeah.
on the purchase order that's been issued to any particular entity.
Okay, so you would require for them to give you one whole invoice with the entire amount on there and then pay that?
And often how projects are conceived is there is a proposal done by a particular firm or several firms, and we help the city choose the most qualified firm to take the project forward. A resolution is then brought before city council to bring that firm on board, and then we manage that purchase order and disbursements from the PO.
Okay, thank you.
Okey-doke.
Thank you. Mr. Randy, if you don't mind, just while you're up, or even if Director Harris, I know we have a project coming up with Mill Hill
Mhm.
and some removals. I just want you, can you speak on that, just in case anyone was wondering about that project that's coming forth?
Absolutely, positively. This one's pretty easy. So we've been working in Mill Hill Park. We've been doing several projects in Mill Hill Park over the years, replanting the park, restoring the Iron Truss Bridge, restoring the Douglas House, et cetera, et cetera. And this piece of the project that has been the tree removal along Assunpink Creek, just immediately behind the retaining walls on the creek.
Mhm.
I went and personally marked each and every one of those trees to be removed because they were all dead trees. There was absolutely no resurrecting anything that was cut down. As a matter of fact, to be clear, there's several more trees that need to come down as part of that project. This is in this is in light of the trees that we're going to plant with a New Jersey Conservation Foundation grant that is going to be planting trees up and down State Street, Broad Street, Warren Street, Mill Hill Park, Cadwallader Park. So it's a necessary first step. I mean, we did the same thing in Cadwallader Park last year. We probably dropped 40 trees in getting ready to plant the trees that are going into Cadwallader Park now. Mill Hill Park, we several times have cleared trees from Front Street and Broad Street frontage to get ready to install new trees. the work that occurred along the creek this past week is the exact same process.
Okay. And that's been approved and submitted to DEP and everything?
Not
Process.
necessary,
Okay.
not necessary.
That we don't need to do that?
Absolutely, positively not. When there's dead trees within
Gotcha.
a public space that pose a public safety hazard, yeah, boom.
Thank you so much.
Council
Thank you,
President.
Councilwoman, Williams. Thank you, Councilwoman Feliciano,
you.
for reminding me.
Yeah. As the BA pointed out, we also have a citywide inventory taken of the first initial steps were all the ash trees, and that was funded by the DEP. Ash trees have the borer now that are taking down the trees nationwide, so to speak. So we have, I think, close to 3,000 ash trees. Yay, good for us. In the city of Trenton that need to be cut down. So they've been inventoried and assessed as to what their existing conditions are, how severe they are, and what should be cut down first. We're about to undergo a citywide inventory of every single tree in the city to do sort of the same thing. So we can, with our community forestry management plan, understand where trees are coming down, where trees are needed, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you. Councilwoman Williams?
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you answering questions, and thank you, Council President, for initiating that, and Council Feliciano for the reminder, because I was going to use my time during civic comment to ask you. So this is an issue in the Mill Hill neighborhood, which is in the North Ward. And I do remember even years ago, one of the trees that had died, it fell into the Asset Peak Creek and created a log jam, and the fire department actually had to go out in a boat to chainsaw and break
Yes.
up the dam. We
Yes.
originally thought beavers maybe did it, but it was just a dead tree.
Right in Mill Hill Park, exactly where we're cutting down the dead trees now. And instead of being a simple tree removal from land, it became this major operations with cranes and boats and fire departments and shade tree crews. And yeah, it wasn't pretty and was considerably more expensive to do it that way than to get the tree while it was on the ground.
Okay, and then my quick questions are there more trees along Nassau Creek that will be having to come down? And then do you know how many trees may get planted to replace them? Because I do understand you had to take these trees down in order to plant new trees.
Yes, there's probably one or two more substantial trees that need to come down. I mean, as a matter of fact, shame on us. We had, after we restored the Iron Truss Bridge years ago, one of the willow trees fell on the Iron Truss Bridge railing and damaged the rail. So now we have to go back and have that repaired, have that tree removed, et cetera, et cetera. So we're trying to avoid repeating that same mistake. So I would guess maybe one or two more trees. I'd have to go down and sort of do a little recon of trees of size. And then there's quite a few trees adjacent to the amphitheater that are of yay size that are completely stone cold dead. They have no bark on them. So everybody could recognize that's a dead tree.
Okay, and my last question is, do you have a guesstimate of how many trees you may plant in 2025? Overall in the city?
Oh, overall in the city?
Yes, sir.
So we have a $1.7 million regional greenhouse gas initiative grant that will plant 1,000 trees. That's what's scheduled to plant. Those trees are scheduled again for Mill Hill Park, Cadwater Park, State Street, spanning from Cadwater Park beyond Mill Hill Park to Clinton Avenue. We have a 319 water quality grant that is going to be planting trees and has already begun planting trees downtown throughout the old city area, the old town area. That also includes trees in the City Hall parking lot to green it up. And we have a $800,000 other grant,
Okay.
whose name now escapes me, to plant trees mostly in South Trenton, where the vast majority of ash trees are planted. Dead ash trees are now there.
Okay, all right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good.
Is it okay to go on consent agenda? You good? Councilwoman Feliciano, you good with that on consent? Thank you. Yes. Consent, and Mr. Garcia. Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you. The next one, last one I see is, Councilwoman Frisbee, 25-137.
Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Minicapelli. So I actually don't have a question on this. I just wanted to acknowledge this one. This is continuum care for those who are less fortunate, disabled, displaced, homeless families. And I really got, and as I was reading this, I was impressed by what is actually happening here. And I am hopeful that this manner will continue for our city, putting things in place such as this plan for them in advance, although I do not believe $45,000 is enough, but we will take what we can get right here. But I am glad that we're doing these proactive, putting proactive ventures in place, in motion, to do training for our departments, for assistance for internal and external staff, department grant administrations, protocols, policies and procedures, and the activities for development of the homeless services. That is to be commended. I wanted to just tell you that I appreciate what you're doing, what you've been bringing to your position. And I just want to commend you and ask you to just continue it. That was all I had with that.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Thank you, Council President. Director Minicapelli, just a quick question for you. We've been giving out COC money for quite a while,
Yes.
right? The training, though, aspect is new to this.
Yes, it is.
So just explain why you felt the need for us to do this now. I think it's great that we're doing it now, but again, we've been giving this money out for a minute, right? But why the need now for this?
Well, it is necessary because we change the entire COC system within the city of Trenton has changed we have changed the teams. So it is necessary for them to have training, making sure that we follow HUD regulations, and particularly now that the leadership in that organization is changing. So we have to be on top of everything so we can create a good team and then give the services that we are supposed to give to our residents.
Okay, thank you. And thank you again for all your efforts and everything that you've been doing to really bring that department up. It certainly shows and we appreciate you. Consent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Garcia, that was everything for consent agenda, I believe.
All right. So, Madam President, with that in mind, if you'd like to
Motion.
motion for a consent to approve a consent agenda consisting of, and correct me if I'm wrong, resolutions 25-126, 127, 128, 129, 144, 145, 146. I believe
We already did it.
25, 147 was
Was done already.
not moved upon. In fact, Madam President, if you'd like to ask for a motion to table resolution 25, 147 and 148.
No. That was approved already.
Oh, they were approved.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, they were approved collectively then?
Yeah, yes.
Those were the individuals that were absent. So they-
153 and 148 were absent.
Oh, I'm sorry.
150, that's what I said, 153, yeah. And
Wait, which ones was, I know it was.
so 148 and 153 were not here, so
And
those are the two.
153.
So extract those two.
I'm sorry?
We've approved 149, 150, 151, 152,
Right.
and 147.
And 147.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So consent, we'll pick back up on 154.
154. So the consent agenda, going back to continuing consent agenda 154. 25, 130, and 131, I imagine require a roll call.
Yes.
132, 133, 134, 135, 136, 137, 138, 139, 140, 141, 142.
Yes.
And I believe that will be all of them.
May we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes, okay. I just want to make sure we took out the one about the thing. Yes, yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg, Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, for the items for the individuals who are not present, are they being pulled or do we need a motion to table those items?
We're tabling those items, yes. So we have a motion to table those items.
So that would
Next
be
meeting.
table 148 and 153, correct?
Yes.
Do we have a date?
All right.
So-
And to the solicitor, do we have to do those individually or are we able to do them collectively? I'm sorry, are we able to do those collectively or do we have to do each one of those individually? The motion to table those two resolutions. Thank you. And Madam President, if you want us for that motion?
Yeah, we're gonna have a motion to approve, motion to table, 153 and 148 until May 6th meeting.
So moved.
So second.
Moved by Edwards, second by Frisbee. Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg, Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. And moving on, I believe, to. I'm sorry.
Public.
And no, Madam President, I don't see any any ordinances for first reading at this time. So if you'd like, move on to public comment.
Yes, Mr. Garcia, you can move on to public comment.
If I could have the public comment clipboard, please. Okay. And Madam President, we have 13 individuals listed for public comment at this time. Unless there's anything further, public comment will be 5 minutes for each individual. You may address any item that you wish. The council is not obligated to respond. Please state your name and address when you approach the microphone. The first individual listed is, forgive me for this name, Hoen Lee. Thank you.
So you said address and name, right? Yeah. Hoyne Lee, address is 170 Sayre Drive, Sayre, Princeton, by the way.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hoyne Lee from Princeton. I've been doing outreach to community organizations in Trenton about ranked choice voting. And I'm here today to express my support for RCV in Trenton. I believe that RCV is not a radical change, but a better alternative that can compensate for the pitfalls of our electoral system. In a city where races have had multiple candidates, RCV's guarantee of a majority winner ensures that a winning candidate actually reflects the will of the people. This will help address the issue of low voter turnout by generating a campaign where people will feel that their votes will be counted until there is a winner. And with every vote now holding greater importance, candidates will be incentivized to engage closely with their community and stress similarity over difference as well. RCV is a fundamental election reform. Remember that 7 municipalities in this state have already adopted a resolution or a trigger ordinance in support of the bills in the legislature. The Municipal and School Board Voting Options Act gives those municipalities the choice to use RCV if their voters desire it specifically. As New York City demonstrated, the majority of people across age and education can understand RCV and how to use it as well. And as the 2022 elections showed, Trenton faces expensive runoff elections with low voter participation and often the absence of a true majority. I respectfully ask this council to not continue this path. RCV is not about choosing sides, but opening up the electoral process to level the playing field for candidates and empowering more people to participate in politics. Therefore, I ask you to support ranked choice voting in Trenton. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hal Hamilton.
I am Hal Hamilton Jr. of 415 Clearfield Avenue in Trenton. And just to clarify, I think there was some confusion over the clipboards. I guess I signed the wrong one for public comment instead of public comment for agenda items. I don't know whether you want to relabel those clipboards. But anyway, I'm here to speak in support of ranked choice or instant runoff voting. As far as I can see, ranked choice voting has no downside. In elections with more than two candidates, it allows voters to vote for the candidates that they actually like the most without being forced to settle in a dishonest manner for candidates that they think have a good chance of winning. And it stops governments from wasting money on runoffs. Some people call it confusing, but you can look at sample ballots from Australia and they're perfectly understandable. Now, Mr. White in his presentation, he had an example where you filled in multiple circles. Australia uses a slightly different version, and Mr. White mentioned that version is compatible with our existing voting machines. Australia uses a slightly different method where instead of filling in multiple circles, you just write 1, 2, and 3, or however many you want to, or however many numbers you want to write in. I guess that wouldn't be compatible with our current voting machines, but still, in my opinion, it's very, very simple for voters to understand, not confusing at all. So I do hope that instant runoff voting is adopted by more jurisdictions. Thank you.
Thank you.
CJ Barbalacci. No. Is it? Oh, okay. Good.
Good evening. My name is CJ Barbalacci, 901 Chestnut Avenue. First, I want to publicly acknowledge Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. I was trying to get a tree cut down for 10 years. I called her. Within 2 weeks, the tree was gone. So thank you very much. My issue is with parking. I live in Chambersburg, and the state law is 50 feet from a stop sign. But your municipality has the authority to make it 25 feet. I only have 6 pictures. If you can show it. My vehicle is the third vehicle from the right. I'm parked in my driveway. And I got a ticket on April 3rd for parking in my driveway. Well, it's a state law. You cannot park in your own driveway unless the municipality changes it. So the women have the power, and Mr. Harrison have the power to change that. If I'm to park 50 feet from the stop, they're all basically the same picture. And I'm going to need them back because I have to give them to Camille Cromartie because I'm fighting this ticket. If I'm to park 50 feet from the stop sign, I live on a corner, I would have to be on the other side of my driveway. That's space for 3 vehicles. And it's almost impossible in the Chambersburg section or really anywhere in the city. Oh, I got a lot of time left. So if the council can take it under consideration to revise, I think it's 39:4/138, to revise that to make it 25 feet from a stop sign and to allow parking in your own driveway. I talked to Michael Manning, and in Trenton, New Jersey, you cannot park in front of a private driveway unless you're the owner of the vehicle and the owner of the house. I talked to Michael Manning and he said that the parking enforcement officers they can't even tell who owns that car. So she just gave me a ticket. Just for 39 years I've lived there. I've never gotten a ticket for parking in front of my own driveway. So I'm going to fight it. My court date's in May, but you do have the authority to change that law, and I would appreciate it if you do. 25 feet from a stop sign, and let me park in front of my driveway.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Thank you so much.
So thank you very much. And I am going to need them back because
Oh.
I got to give them to Miss Cromartie. She needs it all in triplicate.
Kathleen Deal.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
I'm Kathleen Deal. I live at 19 Greenwood Avenue. I appreciate Mr. Baum's presentation today. I came here to talk about the felling of the trees in Mill Hill Park and the implications with that. And Council Vice President made a good question to Mr. Baum when she asked about the procurement process. I'm a procurement and contract manager for the state, so I have a little bit of knowledge on the delegated purchasing authority and the OMB circulars that regulate procurement. So there is a violation if you split the invoices for delegated purchase authority and the OMB process. There is the city procurement person would be the person responsible for procurement. A contractor, unless it's dictated in the contract for them to subcontract out for certain services, it would fall on the city to be responsible for those actions. As far as Mr. Baum's presentation on the fact that the trees were marked, there was no communication to the public on those trees coming down. And one of my concerns is that those trees were quite mature, and the benefit of mature trees to the community, it ranges from helping to keep the evaporation of the water in the Assapink. It helps with overall cooling of the community. It helps with aesthetics, but there's also a believed response when you fell a mature tree that 3 to 10 small trees should be going in to replace that single one tree. So one of the questions I have for Mr. Baum, maybe off record, is how many trees are being planted to replace those single mature trees that were going in, as well as will Mr. Baum and his team be dealing with the stumps? Will they be dealing with the overall implications of if those stumps impact the retaining walls that are alongside the creek? All of those things are implications of the felling of those particular trees. It's not just the trees themselves. There are broader implications with those trees coming down. So that's my questions to Mr. Baum or the city, but also for some clarity to the council's questions on procurement process and overall contract management.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yo Shiu Su. I try.
Hi, hello. Sorry, my name is Yoshi. I live in Princeton, New Jersey. And I've been organizing with the tenants of the Kingsbury Tower on Cooper Street, Market Street. And unfortunately, a lot of tenants weren't able to join us today, but we have been canvassing this Kingsbury.
Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop you. If you
Oh,
could just
sorry.
state your address for the record.
Oh, I didn't say that.
It's in Princeton, right?
Princeton, New Jersey. Did you need my
Full
street
address, yes.
Okay. 32 Horner Lane, Princeton,
Thank you.
New Jersey. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so this, the Kingsbury Towers is in pretty, atrocious conditions, like, tenants constantly complain about, the heating being, too much or not enough. And, in the summers, like the air conditioning is on blast in the hallways, but the apartments themselves, they don't have air conditioning. Uh, there's no cleaning done. The elevators break down very often. There's leaks. Like leak is like a very serious problem. And in there's to a certain extent, the management even like acknowledges us. Like I think for the past couple weeks, basically on a regular basis, they are shutting off the water 9 a.m. to like 4 p.m., but like going on for even longer. And but like this kind of Band-Aid is not a fix when tenants, like they need to cook, they need to clean, they need to wash, and they're experiencing on a weekly basis like water getting shut off. Other issues is like, like the fire doors don't seem to be like really working. Like we were just at there, and some fire doors are just like they don't open, like that's a hazard, that's dangerous. Fire alarms will like go off very frequently. And because it goes off so frequently, you have no idea if this is an actual fire going on, and you're concerned about the safety of your family, your friends, your neighbors, you know. Um, so so yeah, I'll just kind of wrap it up here because like I feel like really it's the tenants who should be here to talk about these issues, but we're bringing this to the attention of City Hall and also bringing it to the attention of the Housing Authority because this issue needs to be looked at. Like it is not sufficient that the management. I think Wynn Residential is one of the management for Tower 2. Yeah, I think it's like Tower 2, and they're like doing renovation for the empty units, but they're not addressing the existing concerns. And tenants should have the dignity to live in living decent housing. And I mean they're paying rent, and then like they're living these um really horrific conditions and just trying to like, well, there's nothing to be done. So like I'm gonna try to get out here, but to where, right? Like you can't really find decent, affordable housing nowadays. And um yeah, I think that's like pretty much it. So I don't know if this is a space where like maybe City Hall or Housing Authority is able to respond to some of these concerns. Okay, if there's no like responses to the issues that I just like brought up here, I guess like the next steps is we'd like to find out how we can get a meeting with the housing authority and maybe have housing inspection coming into the Kingsbury Towers.
Thank you, Mr. Yoshi. If you want to stick around, some people may address your comments during their survey comments. Also, we do have some of our directors, but just for the record, Kingsbury does belong to Patterson's Housing Authority. However, we do have a subcommittee who is working on some of the issues with Kingsbury also. Some of the subcommittee members are on council, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman, and thank you very much, members of the council.
Victor Rosari.
Good evening. It's a pleasure again. Victor Rosari, 19 Morton Avenue, Trenton, New Jersey. My concerns usually is the drug war, Ronald Reagan, right? I mean, not Ronald Reagan, excuse me, what I call the Great White Owl, and I added to it the White Buffalo, Trump. He's declared the cartel, Mexican cartel, as a terrorist group. And also lately, I realized, he also declared some type of war, drug war on immigrants, gang members. They're being sent out the country. There's a drug war that's been going on, the silent drug war, which is an illegal drug of 1971, initiated by Nixon. It's still going on. And I am really disappointed with people of color in this country who are born in this country and do not take advantage of the opportunities provided by this country through the legal system, that is the voting rights and so forth. We can blame a lot on the white man back of the 30s, 40s, or 50s, and when they're thinking of when they came over on the Mayflower and not the ship called Jesus of 1555. And that mentality of slave mentality, of course, it still goes on, what is called, considered white supremacy. My understanding is through my teachings, starting with the Nation of Islam, that the racism, my understanding, was over in 1984, and the New World Order began in 1985. So that mentality should be erased. My point is that we, people of color right now, statistics that I was studying Malcolm X, and he said in a group, I said, well, back then, 11% African Americans, only 3% of them voted, and that's because they want to integrate. All right, that's the idea of America, why America is considered an experiment, what I consider reality, but an experiment. All right, it's an experiment. And that experiment allows us to further make this country the closest thing to heaven, possibly through, of course, education, enlightenment, philosophy, but mainly with the Bible and the Quran, the Bible. Back to the drug war, I see that according to Drug Policy Alliance, drug arrests in this country, it's a leading country that nearly 1 million arrests are made for drug laws violation each year. And then incarceration rate, 1 in 5 US Americans are incarcerated. And also systemic impact, mandate drug testing harm millions. Nearly a quarter of US workforce is subject to employer mandate drug testing. That's 38 million people. And particularly Black women with children seem to be required to test more than the males. Also, overdose. Overdose are preventable. I don't have 105,007 overdose deaths in 2023. When it comes down to, let me see what else. The financial impact. $47 billion is used on average every year to fight the drug war. And then also 3.3 is also used on, along with that, 3.3 is used for the DNA officers keeping the job, funding the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, 2024, fiscal year 2024. And one more, I believe, is here that I'd like to share. Is marijuana policy. Americans want marijuana legalization. I understand it's 13 states that have legalized it, and all of it. All the states need to legalize that, as well as Puerto Rico. Now, Puerto Rico is considered a dying country. It's dying. I didn't do the further research. I don't know why Trump just bypassed Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a transition point for drugs from South America, Central America, Europe, and Asia. All right, so that's a transition point.
Thank you, Mr. Osiris.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
What's this? Adam Vasquez Gonzalez?
Hello. Yes, that is correct. My name is Adan Vasquez. I live in 354 Newkirk Avenue, Hamilton Township. I'm quite disturbed at many things that has led me to come here and speak, that unfortunately I have to put aside and focus on the water shortage that happened on April 12th between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10:11 p.m. for most of the tenants in Kingsbury Towers, as that is the most relevant. I want the city to council members to listen to my words. This is unprofessional. This is abuse. This is exploitation of people in Kingsbury. Management seems to get away with whatever they want, be it harassment, cutting water and heat. I understand that management made it known through flyers stating that the water will be cut off from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. They've lied. I have testimonies from tenants that I requested for one of them named Yuri to speak on her behalf. When I spoke to Yari about her situation, she said the water was shut off in my unit. The water was shut off. There was no heat as well. For some parts of my unit, water wouldn't return until 10 a.m. I remind you that the flyer said 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yari didn't have water in her utilities for more than 24 hours. Most tenants didn't get their water back until 11 p.m., almost 14 to 15 hours. The people couldn't bathe, couldn't use the toilet, the tub, couldn't cook, couldn't wash and clean, couldn't drink water. I want to see the city council members and housing authority to penalize the Kingsbury management, that they cannot keep getting away with this. If you do not penalize them, they will be incentivized to repeat these mistakes. That is all.
Thank you so much.
Asante Walker?
Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Asante Walker, proud native of the historic city of Trenton. I stand before you today with one pressing question.
Address.
Could you just have your address?
70 Sanhegan Drive.
Thank you.
I stand before you with one pressing question. When will the Black agenda come first? Today, I present a proposed bill for your review and passage titled the African American Justice Bill. Excuse me, I'm just a little nervous.
Is that right?
This legislation is designed to bring rightful and long overdue attention to the monumental contributions of African Americans in this city. I feel personally that we are not paid attention to, that our history and dedication to this city is not being recognized. From the Williams Hedgepeth Board of Education to the Trenton Six, to our connections to slavery, even Trenton being the first to have our own Black Wall Street, it's not being noticed. And I plead with this council today, just plead with this council today, that we would make appropriate steps to move forward and recognize the great contributions to keep our history in our children's education, and also to start to bring attention to those who are suffering in our communities that don't have a voice, that won't ever come before this council and speak. There needs to be some attention and some accountability for our residents that are not coming here and talking about housing, discrimination and inequality. And it's not even, some of our structures in the city don't even look habitable. They don't even look worthy to live in. I have a mother myself who lived in the Oakland Street apartments, and her unit was beyond terrible. Holes in her floor, mold,
And what does the Trenton Housing Authority do? They don't answer. They don't come to the waking attention to their residents. They leave the problems like they are, and that's not fair. So I plead with this council to start bringing more attention to our African-American residents in this city because we demand it, and we demand change today.
Thank you so much.
Austin Edwards. Robin Vaughn.
Hi, I'm Robin Vaughn, 1100 Stuyvesant Avenue, Trenton, New Jersey. I just wanted to come this evening to address the council on a few issues that have, that is concerning my community. Number one, I want to ask a question about who ordered the sign to come down on Britton Avenue. I was told that that sign was ordered to come down because council members said that there was some expiration date on the resolution. We named streets all across this city. Cycle King Way. We named Reverend Woodson Boulevard. These names have been, a staple in our community for decades. We don't take street signs down. Here's a resolution that was passed, a memorandum from the former law director that did a background check on this individual and his wonderful family that the street was named after, and their contribution to the city of Trenton and the West Ward where they live. Actually, the mayor honored Bishop Charles Brinson with an appreciation at the Sam Naples Center. Had a great celebration for the gentleman and everything. And then he decided to go and take down the sign. Who on the council told the community that there was an expiration date on the resolution? There was no such expiration date. It was not supposed to take, but it was not supposed to have been taken down within a year's time. And secondly, I wanted to address the many appointed officials and some elected officials who are operating with impunity in this city. We're talking about unlawful contracts and usurpation of the open contracts law. And I want the council to rice Director Maria Richardson and get a full investigation on her role in the contract that was supposed to remediate Stacy Park. I want that investigation to span back to 2011, when supposedly she allegedly filed a lawsuit, a wrongful termination lawsuit. We can't find many records on that lawsuit, but the city paid out over $500,000 on it for some of the same activity she claims that she didn't really understand today in 2025. So I have asked all law enforcement agencies at every level of our government to investigate these contracts. From the prosecutor, the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, the State Attorney General, and the U.S. Attorney General's Office, Alina Habba. This malfeasance cannot continue. The same investigation should go to Steve Wilson as well, over at the Trenton Police Department. You have a grant right now that was allocated for a certain project, and you're saying that you're going to reallocate the funds. You got a bond on the water department. You got a 55 million budget deficit. I hope the mayor's not planning on using that bond over at the water department to fund his budget. Okay, I hope not. So Trenton Waterworks have to remain self-liquidating, and it should not be fleeced to cover the shortfalls of this city budget. So where's the mayor going to get that money? He can't go to the school district. He can't go to the housing authority. Where is he going to go? But I just want to encourage the council to do your job. Rice these directors. They're operating with impunity. Rice Maria Richardson, fire her, and do the same thing for Steve Wilson. And I land my plane. Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric Gaskin. Caroline Clark.
Good evening, council. Good evening, Trentonians. So when I came to the last council meeting, I had some questions about the $200,000 contract that did not go out to bid. And Councilwoman Edwards directed me to the March 18th YouTube recording of council meeting. So I went and I listened and I watched that council meeting.
Ms. Clark,
And,
could you
yes.
just state your address, please?
I apologize. It's 1812 Riverside Drive. So after watching that video, I have more questions than I had before I came last time. So I just sat here, but my first question is now moot because council just passed a resolution authorizing the illegal contract. So my concern is that there was not one single one amongst you who thought you should not approve that contract. The contract was illegally awarded. And passing a resolution doesn't make it legal. It only makes you all complicit in the corruption. So we elected council to be here to serve as a check on the mayor, not his choir. And what you all just did was you unanimously sang, you unanimously endorsed the corruption that the mayor and his administration engaged in. So we didn't send you there to make the mayor's illegal acts legal. Your job is to hold him accountable. And there was none of that happened here. My next question is, how many installment payments were made on that contract? How many times did the PA or our business administrator Richardson, how many times did they sign off on those contracts? I want to remind you all that there are city employees up in federal court for theft of $5,000. And here we're talking about $200,000. Okay? So I only want to know why you all think that this should be treated any differently. We have an article that says that B.A. Richardson knew the people to whom the contract was awarded. We have another article that told us that she, in 2011, had experience with the illegality of splintering contracts. Okay? And so, in the 2011 article, she was cited as saying, she's not going to splinter the contracts because she's not going to go to jail. But in this instance, she splintered the contract for her friends, and nobody thinks she should go to jail. Nobody thinks there should be, at a minimum, an investigation. The investigation should have happened prior to council signing off on that resolution. Nobody here is interested in knowing if there was pay to play, for example. I didn't bring that up. B.A. Richardson did on the tape. I think she's signaling you all. Okay, so my final word is the corruption in this city needs to stop. It's getting to be too expensive for Trentonians. We can't afford it.
Thank you.
Capri Boiler. Precious Crawford.
Hi, I'm Precious Crawford. I live at 128 Mercer Street. I am here for the safety of Trenton. I am speaking on the safety of Trenton. As a mother in this city, I just want to, and let me congratulate, I see all the nice parks and I am in love with it. Taking my kids to the park, I want to know that my kids are safe. I see I can get tickets and I see that we got good jobs. I'm happy about that too. I'm coming up here happy. But I do want to know, what are we going to do in these parks in the summertime when we already know how dangerous our city is? The same way that we have parking authorities that can come and give us tickets, are we going to have park authorities? We're going to have somebody in those parks to make sure that I'm safe with my kids in that park. Any park, not just Cowwater, not just Mill Hill, but I want to be able to go, I call it Hetzel's. I'm trying to think of the East Trenton Park. I want to be able to go to any park in this city when I go to Cooper Park and say, oh, you know what, this is a nice park. I like to see this ride. Come on, let's get on here. Are we going to be safe? Because just the tragedy that happened this week make me feel unsafe. I know it have nothing to do with y'all, but I know it has everything to do with this city, with the policing in this city. If our police presence was here a little bit stronger, I heard Councilwoman Williams asking, just can we get one-on-one? Because a lot of people don't want to be seen in public because they're scared. It's frightening as a parent in this city that I cannot walk in this city to take my kids downtown. That is frightening, but I can drive in this city that has no parking and get a parking ticket when I come out of a store trying to feed my kids. So I'm just trying to see if we're going to have the same way that we have put in parking authority, and I'm glad that it's getting money for the city. I know I didn't pay enough of parking tickets in the city just being on my street. So I understand I don't have a driveway to pull into. I just get the ticket and just say, whatever, I'm gonna pay it. I just say it's gonna go there. But for our children, I should have been here for the last meeting that I just seen up on the thing I wasn't aware of for the school. Our kids need to be safe. Our kids need to feel safe. I heard, I'm not sure about the, what's the word I'm looking for? They were giving counsel to the kids because of the young girl who had passed with her mom. I don't know if it's just that school or is it all schools, but everybody is scared because everybody didn't heard of it. So I don't think it's just one school because that's the kid school that's the school that the kid went to. I think it should be all schools should be having some type of counsel besides guidance counselors that's always there, that's overworked. They need somebody to come and talk to and say, you know what? I'm scared. These things are happening at home and I'm also scared. So that's my thing about and I heard about the summer programs and I'm still looking forward to that, to knowing where I'm going to be able to put my kids at in the summertime, because as working moms, we need somewhere to be able to put our kids. And it's not a safe, I don't feel safe to sit down and say, I'm gonna leave them here and there's so much going on. I just want to address the safety of our city. That's what I came to say. Thank y'all all for being here.
Thank you so much.
And Madam President, those are all the individuals I have for public comment at this time. If it's your wish, you can move to civic comment.
Yes, please, Councilwoman Williams, please.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So the first thing I just wanted to say, as Ms. Crawford just mentioned, it's been a very rough weekend to say. So if we can keep particularly Malika Whiting, the mother of Jaira Biggs, who is only 13 years of age. They were both murdered this past weekend. Please keep them and their family, rest of their family and their friends in your thoughts. And we will hope that we can prevent acts like this in the future. And I know the city is actually, to your point, ma'am, offering counseling, and I have an announcement to make. Thank you, Dr. Minicapelli. So due to the traumatic events that have been happening in our city recently, the Department of Health and Human Services is offering counseling at the Jenny Stubblefield Senior Center located at 301 Prospect Street. It will be tomorrow night from 5 to 8 p.m. There was also offered this evening from 5 to 8 p.m. Transportation can be provided to folks by calling 609-989-3463. That's 609-989-3463. And Mercer County, a therapist will be available for support services from the county. So please share that information with folks. It's really important. So I'll try to be as efficient as possible. So coming up with dealing with crime issues, I'd like to invite everybody, if you please spread the word, we have our North Ward Citizens Police Advisory Council meeting in 2 nights. It's going to be at Galilee Baptist Church, 440 Martin Luther King Boulevard, from 5:30 to 7, it's 5:30 to 7 p.m. We're blessed to have our new Mercer County prosecutor, Judge Janetta Marbury. She took office just earlier or this year. And she will be talking about what the prosecutor's office does, offering information. We can ask questions. Also, the Trenton Police Department will be there, the community relations team that we spoke about earlier. Fire department's also in attendance to talk about concerns from the fire department, as well as the Trenton Community Street teams who do much in the city. So please join us if you can this Thursday night. And then next month, we'll be going back to our usual third Wednesday of the month meetings. Just wanted to also add that just last week on April 9th, we had 2 very beautiful moving ceremonies to remember and commemorate the end of the Civil War, 165 years, because we have Civil War veterans and soldiers who were killed in action buried at Mercer Cemetery. There's over 200 buried there, including a Medal of Honor recipient, as well as there are Civil War soldiers, African-American regiments that were buried at Locust Hill Cemetery on Hart Avenue. So there's also Civil War veterans buried at Riverview Cemetery. So hopefully going forward, we can make April 9th the end of the Civil War, an annual commemoration in Trenton, since we have so many, and we can include and maybe alternate the different cemeteries each year, as that's really, really important for us to remember our history, as was spoken earlier. Also, I wanted to mention the issue of Kingsbury. Look forward, I'd like to catch up with Mr. Shin and Mr. Vasquez in a bit, because we have been doing a lot to try to help that situation in the past 2 years of renovations, but I'd like to hear about the current problems you spoke about later. As the North Ward Council person, I look forward to chatting with you. Additionally, I've been getting some complaints from constituents about the conditions of our taxis, as well as the taxi system in form of payment. We need to work with the administration, because some of the drivers are not accepting credit cards or debit cards, and some of the drivers, their conditions of their vehicles are in poor shape. So we need to make sure that that is not occurring, because Trentonians deserve a fair and safe ride, no matter where they're going in a city. And they also, we need to make sure they're not being refused service because of their destination. Because a lot of Trentonians do rely on taxis every day because of parking issues and because of the expense of those items. So finally, I just also want to address parks with, what Ms. Crawford spoke to earlier. If you can maybe at the end of the meeting, speak with Mr. Harris, he's in charge of our parks. But, and maybe you can share your views further with him, but also he can give you some more information on what's planned. Our parks are very safe. I can tell you, George Page Park, which is in East Trenton, is a good, safe one to go to. We have some great things happening. Hetzel Park, Hetzel Pool and the field, working on baseball there. But Hetzel Pool is a phenomenal pool for your children. I was there last summer, so please make sure you bring them. We have excellent lifeguards, city residents, so it's all things that you can enjoy and safely enjoy. And I look forward to chatting with you. Thank you, and God bless everybody.
Councilman Harrison?
My prayers go out to the Whiting and the Biggs family. Just to hear that what happened, it just should break anybody's heart. Just so sad. Violence is never good, the city needs healing, truly does. Like to thank the director, Minipelli, the animal shelter he had. They gave out, I think it was 100 plus to the dogs and cats food at the animal shelter. Wonderful event. Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank all the new Animal Welfare Advisory Board members. Thank you for stepping forward and stepping up for this great city. I appreciate everybody on this council and everybody for coming out. And let's continue to work to move the city forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Frisbee?
Thank you, Council President. So good night, good evening to everyone. I want to start with congratulating all of the 5 members that were approved for the Animal Control Board. So congratulations to them. We appreciate the work that they're going to be doing. We appreciate them working with our health department and all the work that has been being taken place on behalf of the animals in our city. I want to thank those who came out to speak this evening about ranked choice voting. I know many of them have left, but thank you again for coming out and just sharing ideas on it. It takes progress, it takes time for folks to get used to things, but if we don't at least pay attention to it, hear it, we'll get left behind. Change comes and it's every day, whether you're ready for it or not, but it is coming. My sympathy, my heart condolences go out with the Walker and the White family. I appreciate that I've been tapped to work with them during this time of bereavement, and I will continue to do just that until we get them to a place where they are settled in this unfortunate process. I want to bring also to our attention that April is Autism Awareness Month, as you probably saw when you walked into our atrium. You saw the balloons, and they have placards down there as educational pieces. So thank you to our city for making sure that that is brought to the forefront. But April is also Sexual Awareness Month. I happen to be a co-founder of an organization called ROSA, which is Rising Over Sexual Abuse. We had our walk on this past Saturday, and I just ask folks to hold your family members. It's not just children, but especially our children close. You don't know what's going on. Please don't leave your young girls around grown men that are not their biological father. You just can't. And even just loved ones, you have to just be very aware what's going on. Acting out does not mean that you have a child who is being difficult. It might mean that that individual is trying to get your attention, to give you clues that they need to speak to you, maybe quietly. I wanted to address the many concerns that came to us this evening about Kingsbury. We've been working with that project for quite some time now, and it's disappointing to hear what is transpiring, that has been allegedly transpiring. And so that is something that we will bring to the attention of those who we meet with during the month. Please don't think that that has fallen on deaf ears. We will take that up with them. Ticketing in our city, in our community, is a thorn. We are just we've got to get a balance. We're doing great that we are bringing, we're trying to get the city in order so folks are not parking just anywhere when they want to, but we also have to get balance where the residents don't feel like they can't park anywhere. They don't want to come out because of the fear of coming out to a ticket. We want it to be where folks want to be here, want and know that they have a place, but we want to make sure that it's done in decency and it is done in order, and so that there's a balance. So we've got to find that in here. I wanted to say to Mr. Asante Walker, he left here, but I did want to thank him for giving us the folder with his Black agenda. I will be sure to read it and share. I like to just see what his views are. With that, I want to thank everybody for coming out, especially our directors. I want to thank all of you who came out to just be here, voice your opinions. Thank you for being here, each and every one of you. Thank you to DCA, our law department, our administrators right in front. Thank you all for being out here this evening. And I did not address our parks. And yes, parks should be safe for our children at all times, no matter where they are in our city. Every park, every child deserves and has a right to be safe. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Part of our city's mission statement is recognizing that the people of Trenton have made us guardians of the public trust. We are committed to govern with integrity and fiscal responsibility, to seek excellence in the city's operations, and to serve all the city's people with respect and compassion. Thank you, and everyone get home safely.
Thank you. Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Just want to say it's good to be back in person. I've been away for a time. I had a little baby boy. With that, I do want to give my condolences to the family that just had the recent tragedy. I'm a first-time mother, and bringing a child into this world, you kind of think of things differently. They make sense in a different way. So I really want to express my condolences to that family and to that 13-year-old who just lost her life. I want to say that there was a statement made about the parks today on social media, and I want the public to know that parks is just a part of the improvements that we're trying to make in the city of Trenton. It's just one fragment of so many other pieces, and we are really trying to be as innovative as possible to improve quality of life in Trenton. We have to think about that, and it's steps that we're taking as we move forward. With that, I'm really excited that Cooper Park in the South and North Ward will be getting new basketball courts and other upgrades, and I'm really, really excited about that, as well as all the upgrades that have been happening. Our children, they need this. They need these recreational outlets. And yes, we need to work on the safety of our city, absolutely. But our children still need somewhere to go to be kids. We all have that, and we need to be able to afford that to our children here in the city. I want to commend the administration. There was an email sent to all of council and the administration on Sunday about an illegal tire shop. Apparently, there's a lot of these popping up in the city. The city took strides, and a citation went out to the shop owners, and the shop is shut down. So I really appreciate the city working very, very quickly to get that taken care of. Today is Tuesday. That was just on Sunday. A couple of quick announcements. Trash for the South Ward. All of your trash will be picked up on the 19th. That is Saturday. So please clean out your basements, clean out your lots, clean out your homes. Pretty much anything that you want to get rid of, put it out on the 19th. That is trash day for the South Ward. I'm bringing back the South Ward CPAC meetings. First meeting will be on the 24th of this month at 335 Adeline Street, the old St. Mary's Bingo. Please come out. I will have the police director there, and I will also have Parks and Recreations director and our Public Works director there to answer all questions for those that want to come out and want to express your concerns. Also, the South Ward Neighborhood Association and Empowerment House is having a neighborhood cleanup on the 26th. That is Saturday. That starts on Lamberton and Federal Street. So please, Lamberton and Furman. So please come out if you're not doing anything and you just want to assist. Trenton Knights and Trenton Baseball. Trenton Baseball is having their opening day on the 26th. And Trentonites had theirs this past Saturday. So really excited about the start of the baseball season. With regard to ranked choice voting, again, I fail to see the value in it. I don't think it's something that we are prepared for and ready for here in the city of Trenton. I think that it takes more time. It's going to cause delays. There's more room for error. And I think when it comes to candidates, you know, you need to secure the one person that you want to be in a position, and that's where you need to, that's the person you need to vet, and that's where you need to vote. I fail to see the value in it. I don't think we're ready for it at this time. Given that, thank everybody for coming out, and I wish you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Feliciano.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for expressing what it is that you had to say to those that came forward. Please know that your words did not fall on deaf ears at all. I do want to give my condolences to the Whiting and Biggs family about the tragedy that happened. I do want to say that, and to the family, the friends, the loved ones, the educators, the classmates, everyone that has been touched by this tragedy that has hit our city. So my heart goes out to that family, as well as all other families that have suffered a loss in our city. I want to say two things. With regard to the park insecurity, I spoke to Interim Director Harris when we opened up, when they did the ribbon cutting at Wetzel Park the other day. And we talked about that, right? Because we were like, this looks nice and everything, but what y'all gonna do to make sure that these parks are kept right and are safe? And he assured me that there will be park security on site at the various parks, at the different parks, right? So they will have park security on site at the park. So we are grateful for that. I want to shout out Dr. Manicapelli and your wonderful staff for the work that you continue to do. You got those dogs out of Yardley, you got them down in Columbus. We happy about that. Some people, they want to holler about it, right? They just can't figure it out. They can't make their minds up. They want things done, and then when they're done, they don't want things done. And, you know, and where are they when we have these council meetings? They don't even bother to show up, but yet they are gangsters behind a keyboard. And so here we are. They'll call me petty. They'll say, why did she say that? Because I can. Because I can. Because it's true. When it comes to the issue of Stacy Park, I thank everybody for coming forward with what they had to say from your perspective. And I respect that. Respect it. But by no means has this council sat back to idly let something improper take place. There are meetings that happen and things that are discussed that unfortunately as council we cannot say, because when they are termed as attorney-client or things like that, we can't say. But things are being done. No one is looking the other way and saying, oh, just go ahead and, you know, we're just going to overlook this thing. No, it was wrong. They were supposed to do what they were supposed to do, period. I asked the questions when we were sitting in the meeting. The Trentonian gave a whole transcription of what I said, but yet that still wasn't good enough. What is it that we want? We want the truth or we don't? Or are we mad because it's Crystal Feliciano that's saying it? But guess what? It's Crystal Feliciano that's sitting in the seat. Either you want the questions or you don't. Either you want the truth or you don't. We're about the business of this city. Things are being looked into. Please know that. Please know that they are. And then I just want to say this for my fans that just can't get enough of me. For my very special fans that just can't get enough of me, get ready and buckle up, because here's my announcement. Ready? No, I am not running against Reed Gussiora for mayor in 2026. I am not. I have no desire. I love my job where I am with the children. I have no desire. It is not happening. You can print it, you can quote it, you can screenshot it, you could tell it and scream it from the mountaintops. No. Now, if he don't run, that's a whole other discussion. Thank you. God bless and good night.
Council Vice President.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. I want to first start by saying congratulations to the new Animal Welfare Advisory Board members. I appreciate the administration and your effort, Director Minikapelli, to getting this board up and running. And I look forward to the work coming to fruition from these board members. I also want you to consider, as a part of their scope of work, is to set in parameters of accepting donations to the shelter. We need to figure out the scope of that, the do's and don'ts, and how much, and what that process looks like being documented as well. I want to say my condolences and prayers to the Whiting and Biggs family as well. There was such a tragedy that hit every single person in the city, whether you knew them or not. Something like that should have never happened to them. And on that note, I want to say, in regards to the mental health services that the city provides and that other organizations within the city limits provides, to consider expanding these services to all schools, as was said earlier, but not just all of the schools, but the churches and at home as well, because there are a lot of things that happens in these homes that people do not know about. So we have to put boots on the ground and start knocking door to door and doing welfare checks on our people, especially for those who, are exhibiting signs of that type of behavior. To the gentleman that came and spoke about a Kingsbury situation, thank you for your concerns. Myself and Councilwoman William and Frisbee serve on an ad hoc committee meeting with the developers and the management team over at Kingsbury for the last almost 2 years now. And I just want to say that they did have a pipe burst, and it was reported by the administration as well as myself. And that situation was addressed by the administration. I want to say thank you to them for their rapid response. Well, in terms of the residents not being able to get in touch with the management team, and then by the time the city got their rapid response and getting the pipe fixed and restoring the water to the tenants there. I do want to say that they are undergoing construction, so I would ask for you guys to bear with them. It's a very uncomfortable process, and it's going to be a long time, as there are hundreds of units in those towers that need to be renovated. So that's why they're shutting off the services. For those who may not know, the construction, the renovations of the towers has begun. I want to speak lastly to the resolution that we had unanimously approved that Ms. Clark has cited in her public comments, 25-154. It was to our understanding that this was to rectify the situation, not to make ourselves complicit in the process, though I understand your points. And to an extent, I do agree, because now I question whether that made us complicit or not. Because during my research into all of this, I found that, NJSA 40A:11-4, like, it's unlawful to split a project into smaller invoices to avoid bidding thresholds or council approval. It's a practice known as bid splitting. And Stacy Park work totaled nearly $200,000, but yet it was invoiced into several smaller parts, each under $44,000. And I won't accuse the administration of egregious acts. That is not my nature, but I did submit a lengthy email requesting documentations and for this to be rectified. And this resolution was presented to us as one of the steps to rectify the situation. And they have acknowledged that they may not have followed proper protocols due to past practices, but since are, putting themselves in a position to rectify it. There were permits that were supposed to be filed for, being that it was a flood hazard, a flood zone. So under the state's DEP Flood Hazard Area Control Act, there was a permit that was supposed to be filed. And that has been acknowledged as well. And we're looking forward to hearing that from the city on where they are with that. The DEP did issue a formal notice of violation back in February, and the city has responded to that in attempt to try to rectify it again. I don't want to keep sounding redundant, but these are the findings of which I had did my research on. And we did acknowledge that the administration does have a consulting company who appeared here tonight, who typically they did reach out to work with during these processes, but it is disappointing that they didn't do that this time. But I'll leave my comments there, and I'll have some future comments down the line. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Thank you, everyone, for being present. If I could just ask for us to have a quick moment of silence for the Biggs and Whiting family. And also, there was another young person who passed away in first grade due to an illness. Thank you. So definitely the prayer is going out to all of those families. As stated earlier, there are those crisis teams have gone into several schools, not just that one particular school. I know that was, you were asking about that, but they are, and I think for now it was like 6 different schools just because of the impact of where the mother works, where, you know, the child went to school, where she previously went to school. So everyone has been around, and a crisis team does come to any one of our schools if it's needed. If someone calls and says a child needs some type of assistance, they will send a team out to that specific school. But I do know it was more than one school that they arrived to for counseling sessions. And just to that point, you know, just we got to definitely check on one another, make sure that, especially our men, you know, make sure that men know that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to seek counseling. And oftentimes men are taught not to cry and not to show emotions as kids. And so that way, we just got to make sure that they feel comfortable enough to do that, not excusing anyone's behavior, but we just need to be able to check on our men and women so that some of these things, this is the second time we've had a domestic violence situation that ended fatally, and it was literally within months. So hopefully we can check on some of our people. To the city of Trenton, thank you for the autism awareness celebration. To everyone that participated in that, to the Rosa Foundation for the 10-year sexual assault walk. That was amazing to see so many people come out and come forward. I also just want to say this is a bittersweet moment for our Trenton Housing Department, as we have Mr. Jelani Garrett, who is retiring. And now we are welcoming a new executive director, Mr. Clifford Godfrey, for the Trenton Housing Authority. So I'm looking forward to the work that he will continue to do for Housing Authority. Congratulations to the New Jersey State Museum on their 130th anniversary. Also, Kids Are First are accepted applications for preschool programs for 25-26. So please sign your kids up for preschool if you need it. Also, we want to congratulate Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg and welcome her back to the dais in person. We're having an Easter egg hunt this Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Calwood Park. A Know Your Rights conference will be also happening this Saturday from 12 to 6 p.m. Also for spring break, I'm not sure if it's full, but the city is providing a week-long set of activities for our children. So please, if you want, please contact the recreation department for that. As we often say, our kids don't have anything to do. We have a week-long or 4 or 5 days worth of activities, and they're really nice trips that they're taking the kids on. So also, Arbor Day at Calwood Park, April 25th from 9:30 to 2 p.m. Just really quickly, some of the comments were mentioned earlier as far as the Stacy Park, and both of my colleagues have said that very eloquently, that we are not, we have definitely asked questions. We are still doing things behind the scenes, so do not think that we're not doing anything in regards to Stacy Park. And this resolution was a step just to try to fix it. We all acknowledge that mistakes were made. Now we're just trying to take the proper steps to ensure that, and I'm confident to know that they will, and us too as council members. Now this was a learning curve for everyone involved. So now we know what to ask prior to projects being done and things not to ask. So we're definitely working and we're learning as we go, but just know that that was just a step in trying to correct that situation. As far as Kingsbury, thank you for bringing those concerns to us. I do know that I think I misspoke because it's a privately owned building now. development. So I just want to make sure I said that too also, but thank you for bringing those concerns to us. I know they were addressed as far as that pipe being bust by the city, and we just want to thank you for stepping up to take on that responsibility when it occurred. And then also to my colleagues for being on the committee and making sure we were supposed to have a presentation done tonight on Kingsbury, and unfortunately, they weren't able to attend, but we're looking forward to them coming in the near future so that we can ask proper questions. Also on the 17th, the city will be launching a city stat program where you can come in and discuss certain concerns with our directors directly. With that, I want to say thank you all for being present and have a good night.
Okay, Madam President, if you'd like at this time, you want to ask for a motion to go into executive session.
Can we have a motion to go to executive session?
So moved.
Yes. Do we have a,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
I think so. Okay. I'm sorry, I had a motion and a second. I apologize. I will take the roll call now. Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano, Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg, Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. And to the solicitor, do we anticipate a vote coming out of executive?
Yes.
Yes, we do anticipate a vote coming out of executive session.
We just need one more.
We need one. No, we don't. Jennifer.
Yeah.
All right.
We need her a couple of.
That's why I was
Y'all, yeah, y'all had.
And Council President, could I ask for a motion to come out of executive session, please?
May we have a motion?
So move. Second.
Right, thank you very much.
I forgot.
All right, and for resolution 25-130, resolution authorizing the settlement of a workers' compensation claim in the matter of Frank Guido versus the city of Trenton, claim petition number 2014-21305 in the amount of $150,000, including attorney fees and costs. Council President, if it is your will, may I please have a motion?
May we have a motion to approve? Thank you.
Second.
Second, thank you.
All right, and that's a first from who?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Who did the first? Oh. All right, I'll go down the board. Council Vice President Edwards?
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano?
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettner? Councilwoman Frisbee? Councilman Harrison? Councilwoman Williams? Council President Gonzalez?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion to adjourn?
No. All say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.